check your interest rates. Checking your interest rates is a great way to determine things like which debts you should pay off first or where you should open a savings account. And that's all for this week's Money Talk Minute with your business diva, Melanie Collette. Please remember to listen to Money Talk with Melanie Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central, or 2 p.m. Pacific Time on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. And we're back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I am your business diva, Melanie Collette. And for those of you who were watching on on my page, and I accidentally ended the live feed again. I need somebody just like standing here and like smacking my fingers, but I guess I'm better off because I went ahead to my my Facebook page and I figured I'd stream live from there. It's so frustrating being imperfect. I want so desperately to be perfect. Anyway, so you're coming in like 20 minutes into the show and missed my whole like awesome introduction. Antoine, Eric, Ron Edwards. I just played this week's Ron Edwards Notebook, which was complete awesome sauce. I feel like I should play it again because like it was like that good. I think I'll play it in the next break because like it was that awesome. And even though people who are listening on SHR Media and High Place Pundit Talk Radio will be hearing it again, that is quite okay. So I'm going to, for those of you who are just joining me, I was going to do a re-air today, quite honestly. And then I decided, I saw a few things in social media today that, what's the word? Upset me, made me, I just, there are people, okay, out there who seem to be confused about what conservatism is, about what it means to be a conservative, and the fact that conservative truths don't change, okay? That there are some, particularly if you're a Christian conservative. Thank you. That was a total accident, James, that my lipstick and my shirt match. Like, I would never do that on purpose. And by that, I mean, I do it on purpose every day. I'm speaking to people in the Facebook feed, which welcome everyone to the Facebook live feed. I appreciate your being here. But anyway, I was looking on social media today, and I just noticed that there seemed to be, here's the thing about what conservatism means. You need to understand, apparently people need to understand like what the word conservative means. And part of what it means is that it's unchanging. That's part of that it's traditional, that it's unchanging, that it is steeped in truth. And so I'm beginning to feel like there are people who don't understand that, and that there are people who are trying to change what it means to be a conservative. And who don't understand, James Grinelli, hello, and who don't understand that fiscal conservative policy is good for every race. And you have this, we're only a year into the Trump presidency, right? And you have this regular debate. I don't know why we haven't just let President Obama go off into the daggone sunset. But, we have this debate, people in social media actually arguing whether or not fiscal conservatism is better than liberal fiscal policies. When we have a Dow that is on its way to 26,000 and has been breaking records ever since President Trump has been in office, when unemployment has been at an all-time low. And by the way, black folks, black unemployment is at a 17-year low. And we're actually questioning whose policies were better. And you actually, from a racial perspective, because it is MLK Day, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention this, we actually have people debating what was better for black people. And here's the mind-blowing thing that I don't understand why people don't seem to grasp is that if it's better for all people, then it's automatically better for black people. The thought that there are some things that are better for Black people, but are not going to be better. Like, liberal policies are the absolute worst thing for everyone, including Black people. The reason why people are allowed, are able to group Black folks into this one voting block is because, by and large, as Black people, we vote as one voting block. If we stop doing that, then the media wouldn't be able to keep saying the Black vote. Politicians wouldn't keep being able to have the ability to refer to the Black vote. There would be no such thing as the Black vote. And by the way, there shouldn't be. That term in and of itself is a racist term in my mind. What if we stopped voting as one block? They wouldn't be able to say things like the Black vote. No one would be able to say things like the Black vote. And if you are a thinking person, a thinking Black person, and you think regularly about racism, I implore you, if you are a liberal and you are listening and you're within the sound of my voice and you're watching this podcast, I am begging you to think about you being called the Black vote by Democrats, that you continue to vote for, and that you continue to vote in fiscal policies that don't benefit anyone, but especially you, because they count on you voting the same as a racial bloc. Think carefully about a philosophy that says because you are all the same color, you should vote a certain way. Think carefully about that thinking. Liberals tell you this every single election, and every single election to the tune of 90 some odd percent, you fall for it. Why do we keep doing this as a people and not calling that racist? It's MLK Day, and I had to speak on it. I don't understand this. Let's talk about liberal fiscal policies versus conservative fiscal policies. Let's not even get into the Christianity aspect, although I'm sure that I will, because I am a Christian conservative and will always be that. And on my other on my original Facebook Live, I had the quote included in the description that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. And the reason why I had that quote there is because conservatives need to understand this, particularly those of you who are new to conservatives, and particularly those of you who are brown and conservatives. You need to understand what you are in for. You need to understand that being a conservative, and particularly a brown conservative, is not going to be comfortable. And if you are not ready for that, then exit stage left. Okay, I think on Facebook is probably right. But you need to exit stage left because you're not up for it. Conservatism, fiscally, Christian-wise, is steeped in a truth that does not change. It doesn't change because based on popularity. In fact, it's patently unpopular. So if you think for one moment that you're going to come into the conservative movement and change the conservative movement, particularly the Christian conservative movement, into something that it is not, you're in for a rude awakening. That is not going to happen because there are some fundamental biblical and constitutional foundations upon which Christian conservatism is built, and it is not changing for anyone. So if you think that you're going to be popular or that you're going to change the Christian conservative movement in order to be more popular, that is not what it's about. And anybody who is a card-carrying Christian conservative understands that that's not what it's about. Anybody who says, well, if you continue to get to be a Christian conservative, you're not going to get votes. It's not about getting votes. Never was. It's about truth. It is about what is true. The Constitution, and more importantly, the Bible. It's about telling the truth. And what really tells the tale about who you are is what you stand for. And what you stand for when the fire comes, when the arrows sling. Who you are. And who you were going to be. And that is very true. Shelley Kennedy in the Facebook chat said most individuals' belief systems have more in common with conservatism, but don't think that because of the amount of misinformation about conservatism. And that is very true. And I will say this, I find it perplexing. So many people that I know that are very conservative that in their beliefs, that are pro-life, that are that are entrepreneurs, that continue to vote Democrat, which is voting completely against your own interests, contrary to what Michelle Obama will tell you. If you are an entrepreneur and if you are a Christian, if you're voting for a liberal, you are voting against your own interests. That's just a fact. Liberal policies support an anti-God agenda. Don't believe me? Look at what Obamacare and the Obama administration tried to do to the nuns who were pro-life, and tried to say that Big Brother government was more important than what God said. That's called an anti-God agenda. That's what that is. And anytime you try to force somebody to betray their religious beliefs, what they know to be true, because of government, that's against your own interest. Anytime you are against religious liberty, that is against your own interest as a Christian. And it is stunning to me the number of Christians that are out there that will continue to vote Democrat. I don't care. Let's talk about pro-life. There are a number of people who are pro-life that would never, ever, ever get an abortion. But God forbid they say it. But they won't support policies against abortion. Why? Why? Because it's not comfortable? Because it's ugly? Because it's unpopular? So, decide who you're going to be and be that. But you can't be a Christian sitting up in the pulpit every Sunday and reading and saying that you believe in the Bible, and the Bible says that abortion is murder, and then vote for a liberal. Can't be done. Now, there are some arguments to be made that Republicans need to give up the fight on social issues. Okay, Republicans can do that. Conservatives can't. Conservatives can't. And they have to continue to push for Christian conservative values, for what is true. It doesn't matter what Republicans do. It doesn't matter what Democrats do. You have to continue moving forward in truth and supporting policies that move forward in truth. Republican Party's not perfect. Never said that it was perfect. Not even close. But my God, a Democrat? Really? Their platform is anti-Christian. And could not possibly be more racist. For all you race worshipers out there. The whole liberal agenda, fiscally, let's just take fiscally, for example. Not only is it racist, but it is absolutely anti-Christian. Well, yeah, Melanie, but, the Bible says we should love one another, and therefore we should give to the government, should give to the poor. No, that's not what the Bible says. The Bible says that we should give to the poor, that the church should give to the poor. The Bible does not say that the government should take from the people and give and redistribute to the poor. That is not what it says. It says that we're supposed to give from our hearts. Therefore, that makes the liberal agenda absolutely and completely false and anti-Christian, and makes you a lazy Christian on top of that. Just saying. Yeah, I said it. If you believe that the government, and if you believe that the government is a good steward of our money, then you're absolutely crazy. And I'll tell you this. I'm going to see if I was going to see if I could find the book that I'd love for anyone to read if you believe that the government is a good steward of your funds. It's called, oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Bureaucratic Bombs. That's the name of the book. I was going to show it to you, but I had the author on my show at one point, and it goes into detail about how much the government wastes your money. Fiscal conservatism says you keep more of your money, okay? You keep your money in your pocket. And Christianity says you support causes and give to the poor, that you take care of the widows and the poor and the children. That's what Christian conservatism says. It does not say that you give to the government and the government redistributes. So, I on this Martin Luther King Day felt that the need to defend true conservatism. What did the Obama administration said that things like, not only should you have abortions free until the baby comes out of the womb, but that the government should pay for it. Again, anti-Christian, anti-Constitution as well, because of the First Amendment. This is what people need to understand. And Shelley brought up earlier, Shelley Kennedy in the Facebook Live chat brought up earlier that there's so many lies about conservatism, which is very true. One of the lies about conservatism is that we want to, I don't want to say that we don't want to, by law, stop all abortion, because yes, in our utopia, that is what we would love to have happen, is that abortion was abolished altogether. Do I think that most conservatives from a political perspective think that's a reality? I don't think we think that's a reality from a political perspective. But what we don't want is our money paying for it. If you are going to dispose of your baby like a piece of garbage, then pay for it yourself. And I know that's a very ugly way to say it, but it's an ugly practice, and it shouldn't be handled with kid gloves or in a way that makes it sound like it's cute or comfortable or nice, because it isn't. And the liberals think that we should all pay for it. Conservatives don't want to pay for it. Christian conservatives don't want to pay for it. Glenn Davis says the government has always taken from the poor. I know this firsthand, by the way. Go Patriots. Okay, that's funny. That was a little football joke. Hey, listen, I got no dog in a football fight. I got to tell you, I really don't. I listen, if I'm sitting around hanging with my peeps, which I'm one of those chicks that has a lot of guy friends, okay? So if I'm sitting around hanging with them, then I'm probably going to be watching football against my will. But anyway, I digress. The government has always taken from the poor, and it is unconstitutional. And that's what conservatism talks about. So if you're calling yourself a conservative, and there are some that are out there, but are saying that, like, Barack Obama wasn't such a bad president, like, what president were you looking at? What policies were you looking at? Continually raising taxes and taking more money out of your pocket. What policy were you looking at? Unemployment continuing to be high as heck. Fiscal growth continuing to be low as heck. It didn't even screech somewhere around 3%. It was more like 1% and 2%. Practically his entire presidency. Who was that good for? It wasn't good for anybody's pocketbooks, and especially wasn't good for black folks' pocketbooks. Yet and still, this blew my mind. His second election, he was reelected literally with the lowest unemployment rate in history. And he gets reelected, largely because of black folks. And on this MLK Day, black folks, please stop voting as an entire block. Please look at the policies that you're voting for. It doesn't make any sense for us to continue to vote as an entire block like that. And guess what? Liberals rely on that control. They're getting you. You are getting got. You know, black folks pride themselves on not getting got by anybody, but the liberals are getting you on a regular basis. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I am your business diva, Melanie Collette. This is a Martin Luther King Day special, and I will be back in a few moments.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how legally hiring your spouse and children can slash your taxes. Learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the benefits of setting up an exit plan, how to avoid getting audited, and how to legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Visit TaxMama.com. Click on Ask a Tax Question to get free answers to your tax and business questions. That's TaxMama.com.
My name is David Barnett, and I've been helping people buy and sell small and medium-sized businesses since 2008. So far this year, I've gone on 5 vacations. It's because I've got my own business. When you get tired of being managed by someone else and you decide that business ownership is right for you without the risk of starting your own unproven enterprise, then come over to businessbuyeradvantage.com. There are over 100 YouTube videos on buying and selling businesses that you can watch for free. That's businessbuyeradvantage.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, and today we are talking conservative fiscal policy, good for every race and every people. And the kind of the foundation or the impetus for the show today was the fact that I have seen here recently a few posts that I found disturbing from so-called conservatives that are saying that, you know, are saying things like Obama was a good president. I'm just like, I'm so confused by that. Like, do you do understand what conservatism is, right? Like, you understand what the tenet of conservatism is. And me being the teacher that I am, felt like I should probably clarify, and it is MLK Day, so that maybe there needed to be some clarification as to what conservatism is. Now, I will tell you, I do not normally source Wikipedia as a source for conservative, as a source for anything, quite frankly, because I'm a teacher, and that's a bad look. But for the purposes of my show, I briefly want to describe how Wikipedia describes conservatism, because I tend to agree with it. And the long and short of it is that it's a political belief here in the U.S. that is characterized by respect for American traditions and support for Judeo-Christian values, moral absolutism, okay, economic liberalism, which is not the same as social liberalism, and anti-communism, and advocates American exceptionalism. If you don't agree with any of those things, you're not a conservative. You're not. So if you say things like Barack Obama was a good president, what in that definition did Barack Obama fit that you would judge him as a good president? And I'm not here to bash Barack Obama, but for people who think he was a good president and you still voted for President Trump, I'm just confused. I'm just confused, because there's nothing about that president that is avoiding deficit spending, that reduced overall government spending and the national debt, that balanced the budget. None of that is fiscally conservative. So how can you be a fiscal conservative and say things like Barack Obama was a good president? You know who's a good president? President Donald Trump. Now, I'll be the first one to say that I am no fan of his mouth. You know, if my mom was his mom, he'd probably get his mouth washed out several times. But I'll tell you what, his policies, if you are a fiscal conservative, if you're a Christian conservative, his policies fit that definition, okay, of what fiscal conservatism is. Avoidance of deficit spending. He is doing that. Reduction of government spending, the national debt, balanced budgets. All of these things are steeped in fiscal conservatism. And what he is laying out, he has only been president for a year, but look at what he has done. Because of his policies, people are optimistic. Companies are optimistic. He is already putting more money back in, well, pretty much everyone's pockets. Not everybody's, but a lot of us, a lot of our pockets. So, you know, we have to decide what's important to us as a people. And I'm particularly speaking to Black folks. You know, Black folks will, some of us are conservatives like me, but Black liberals will jump all over a comment, an inartful comment that President Trump made, and completely ignore the fact that you're going to be getting more money in your paycheck come February, and completely ignore the fact that he is a pro-life president and is putting pro-life judges in place, and the fact that abortion like on demand is literally has the Black population in negative population growth. Do you understand, Black folks, that negative population growth means negative power? Like, since you like voting as a voting bloc so doggone much, why wouldn't you be pro-life? Because, like, being pro-life is what is going to get us more people and make us a stronger voting bloc if you subscribe to that. And that's just another way in which voting for liberal policies makes no sense. As it makes no sense as a Christian, it makes no sense as a Black person. It makes no sense. Look at the numbers. It makes no sense. You enjoy voting as a bloc so much. Why are we in negative population growth due to the heinous practice of abortion? And why are we voting as a bloc? Not me, we as a bloc. I mean, I know y'all like, you know, tried to like kick me out of the Black community, but you don't have a choice. Like, I'm here. But why are you voting as a bloc for the continual extermination of our people? since you enjoy voting 95% liberal. That makes no sense to me. And I'm not trying to bash you. I'm trying to get you to think. I, in my utopia, would love to see a time when there was no such thing as the black voting bloc. When what Dr. King said came true, that we were actually judging people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Every time a liberal mentions the black vote, every black person's skin should crawl. Because what they are saying is that you're all the same color and that you should all vote, think, act alike. That's the definition of racism. And we continue to allow it. Why are you not offended? I'm offended. And instead of being okay with me being offended, other black folks will throw shade on black folks that decide that they're going to leave the voting block and not vote the same way that other black people are voting. Explain that to me. Somebody's going to have to help me with that. Help me with how that is not racist. Help me, because I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm trying to understand how that works from a logic perspective, from a thinking perspective. And like I said, I'm just trying to get you to think. Trying to get you to think. You sit up in church reading the Bible, I assume listening to what is being taught. But black churches are complicit too, because they're not teaching people the right things, and particularly in the black churches. They're complicit too. It's Martin Luther King Day, and what are they promoting? Liberalism in most black churches. Is that helpful? I don't think it's helpful. It's not helpful on a number of fronts. Number one, it's anti-Christian, and the judgment goes double for anybody who teaches people things that are not in the Bible. That's number one. So, and number two, you are misleading people. People are being misled. I just want black folks to think. More smaller government and more money in everyone's pocket. You are not getting more money by getting handouts. You ever heard the old phrase, teach a man to fish, he'll fish for a lifetime? That is a true statement. And by the way, it is a Christian principle. It is a Christian principle. No, we were not meant to be supported by the government. We were meant to be free. And as long as we continue to be supported by the government and continue to vote for the government to hold us up, we will never be free. You want to be free? Look into conservatism. Research it for yourself. Don't believe the lies that the media is telling you. Don't believe it. Particularly if you're a Christian. Don't believe the hype. Stop believing the lies. If you're a Christian, ask yourself, what political leaning is most closely fits the Bible? And if you're a Christian who hasn't read the Bible, you better start reading. You need to start reading, because there are a lot of Christians that fall into that category as well. You're not reading the Bible, you go to church every Sunday, and you have no idea what the Bible says. But what you do is believe the lies that the media tells you about conservatives, that we hate every race, that we hate, illegal immigrants, and that we hate people who have had abortions. We hate, and that is just not true. It's a complete lie. But you need to get up off your collective duff and do the research. And stop believing the hype and be brave. And be brave. Christianity is not for the faint of heart, neither is conservatism. You need to be brave. You need to have a backbone. You want to speak the truth. And if you don't have a backbone, then continue to vote with the 95% of other people who vote according to color and vote according to, who's popular. A lot of the people who voted for Barack Obama, who voted for him just because he's black, guess what? You're a racist. Minimally, it was a racist thing to do. Because if a white person said that they were not voting for Barack Obama because he's black, or they said that they were going to vote for Mitt Romney because he's white, that person would be a racist. How are you excluded? And this is our problem as a people. On Martin Luther King Day, content of character, not color of skin. Did you vote because of content of character or because of color of skin? If you believe the words of Martin Luther King, ask yourself that question. And if the answer is you voted because of color of the skin, there's some self-examination that needs to be done. And if you criticized someone who voted against Barack Obama because of the content of his character, more appropriately, the content of his policies, rather than the color of his skin, you need to examine yourself and ask yourself, are you being a good steward of Dr. King's words? When you criticize someone who actually had the audacity to vote based on the content of policy and not the color of Barack Obama's skin. Just ask yourself whether or not that's appropriate, whether it's appropriate to criticize someone because of that, or call them nasty names, or unceremoniously decide to kick them out of the black community. I have news for the black community. I'm here. And I'm part of it, and there's nothing you can do about it. How about that? And I'm not going anywhere. You need to understand. You need to examine, read, research, and find out what is best for you. And don't be afraid. Stop being afraid, because a good friend of mine says all the time, you plus Jesus is the majority. And if you stand on the side of that truth, then you will have absolutely no problems. Believe me, you won't be popular, but you won't have any problems. Not any real problems anyway. Anywho, I'm going to put my soapbox away. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I am your business diva, Melanie Collette. Today's show was about Martin Luther King and about how fiscal conservative policy is good for every race. If you're just joining me now, I hope you'll give the podcast a listen later on. I want you all to remember that this is very important because after all, it is your money. Have a great day.